All right, guys, let's check out the Fortis Flieger. And they use that loosely, right? It's not really a pilot's watch. It's kind of a reimagined, updated, more modern sports Flieger watch, if you will. But directly from Fortis, I have the F-39 and the F-41. And I'm going to cover the specs real quick. And then I'm going to talk about how this watch has been calling to me. But typically I impulse buy. This one I have not bought yet. Okay, let's get into it. So F-39 on the left, F-41 on the right. So if you're in the same boat that I am in and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to buy because you don't want to make that mistake, these are $2,350 on bracelet. So you want to make sure you purchase the one that best suits you. So F-39 on the left, F-41 on the right. 39 millimeter wide, 41 millimeter wide. Lug to lug on the 39 is 50 millimeter. Lug to lug on the 41, 52.5 millimeter. You can kind of see, there you go. You can kind of see the length. Maybe it's hard to get them at the same plane, but definitely longer on this guy. Thickness on both of them near identical. F-39, I measure 12.75. I measure 12.8 on the F-41, so basically the same. They're both under 13. Same thing with the lug width. Both of them 21 millimeter. Bracelets taper down to 20, so identical there. Weight, near the same. Size for my 7¼ inch wrist. 185 gram on the F-39, 192 on the F-41. So the big difference there is the 39 and the 41, but more importantly, the lug to lug. 50 mil on the F-39, 52.5 on the 41. Both of them using the same movement. It should be, Fortis calls it the UW30 movement. Like a lot of companies, they will name their movement and it gives them the freedom to source whatever they see as the best movement for that time. In this case, I'm pretty sure it's the Sellita SW200. Custom rotor, obviously, and they might do some regulation. I'm not 100% sure. Both of them have bidirectional 12-hour, 24-click bezels. We can take a look at the F-41 a little bit closer so you can kind of see that. They are numbered, obviously, but they're hard to see at certain angles because it is sloped inward, as you can kind of see there. Now, a buddy of mine, Luke, has the F-39, and he actually colored in the 12. So I'm sure there's a process you can do that. If you guys know how to do that, let me know. But I think basically that's cut out of the steel. So you kind of just fill it with some sort of paint and then just kind of wipe off the excess and hopefully it stays inside. But that was kind of a slick idea, I think, because it helps you orientate the bezel better. The bezel action is solid, very tactile. I guess the best way I could explain it is it would be difficult to get the bezel to be in between positions. It naturally wants to snap into one of the 24 clicks. And it's consistent in both directions. So they 100% nailed the bezel action. You have a nice fine coin grip on there. And that is also matched similar on the crown. I forgot to mention both crowns are 7.2 millimeter and they sit without crown guards fairly close to the case, but you'll also see that black resin type material. I don't think it's ceramic, but it's underneath the bezel and it's also in between the crown and the case. Here's a look at the case back on the F-41. And check out that bracelet. I don't know what all those little dimples are, but it's pretty cool looking nonetheless. The bracelet is actually very well made. You can see it's screwed on both sides. So those are always fun to size. I didn't size these, they already came sized. You actually even have screw bars to hold the bracelet onto the watch. So very tough, well-built watch that should endure whatever your activities are. You'll also notice the date at the 6 o'clock. I purposely put it on the 13th. Today's not the 13th when I'm recording this, but I wanted to point out that they printed the 13 in the same color as the seconds hand, the date frame, the automatic, and then the timing up top here. That really pops when you use a UV light. I will try to show that towards the end of the video. Also, the hour and minute hand obviously loomed out really good, but the track, it looks like it's applied onto the bezel, or onto the dial, rather, excuse me. And what they use is a technology, it's similar to like loom casting, where they actually cut out the indices and then place them, but they have a patent on it, and it's called Brix Track. So, but it's a similar fashion. You can see these aren't like completely squared off and milled. They're, you know, built up instead. So I think they're built up. But the loom on it is great. Here's a closer look at the F-39. So spoiler alert, I have decided the F-39 would be the one that I would purchase. I can easily wear the F-41, even with the longer lug to lug, on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. It's not a problem, but I just prefer the 39 dimensions for more of an everyday wear style watch. So that's the one that I'm going to go with when I'm ready to buy. Here's a quick look at the clasp. Great job, very simple, fold over, all milled, easy to operate, and has on the fly quick adjust. You just push that button and you can adjust it in or out, and it will ratchet in on its own, but you have to push the button to release it. Okay, let's try both these on so you can see what they look like on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. You know the routine. I was wearing my new bronze 38 mil mechanical Hamilton. Start off with the F-39. Here's the F-39 on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. The other thing that I was initially torn with is I still, even now, I prefer the look of the watch. Whether it's on my wrist or somebody else's wrist, I just prefer the look of it on the leather strap. However, when I put the watch on my wrist with the metal bracelet, it definitely works on the metal bracelet. But when I look down, I think it's just the way the lugs are and everything. I think it looks better on the leather versus the bracelet, but it wears better on the bracelet. I assume. I have not tried one on the leather. So if and when I pick one up, I'm probably going to make sure I have the bracelet and the strap. All right, let's kill the lights, check the loom, and then I will also try to do a little UV action so you can see that pop of color. Let's see if I can. So there's the loom, and then, yeah, instantly you can see how that orange pops on there. If you get the right angle, you even see that top part there. But just a cool, unique, fun way to operate things. Almost makes me want to set up some UV lights in this over the studio here, so I can kind of show some of that. Or if you have a tritium tube watch, you can just really get it to pop. It's very cool, very fun. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.